Hello, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen James, and all your latest Rangers news, guys. Thank you for your phenomenal support over the last few days. Views have been fantastic, subs have been climbing. It's been fantastic having so many Rangers fans reaching out, so many Rangers fans dropping their comments, trying to get through your comments as quickly as I can, guys, but it's very, very hard. But this is not your full-time job when you've got to work full-time, as well as do this. This obviously is my major love, though. What we're going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk obviously about the appointment of the CEO and the job that he has to do. Patrick Stewart, make it so, number 2. We're going to talk about Jack Butland as well and his comments, which I think, some people are suggesting are kind of aimed at Philippe Clement, and this certainly isn't the first time he's kind of, in a roundabout way, criticised the manager. I think it's quite telling, when someone like Jack Butland speaks out. Jack Butland is... Look, I know he's had his critics this season. I know he's made his mistakes this season, but let's face it, all goalkeepers do. Goalkeepers have the worst job in the world. They really do. When a defender makes a mistake, or an attacker makes a mistake, or a midfielder makes a mistake, it isn't always critical. It isn't always, dire. It isn't always dire. It doesn't always, lead to a goal. Whereas when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, 99% of the time, it does lead to a goal. And that's why goalkeepers' mistakes are so flagged up. I think we've got to get perspective on Jack Butland, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Look, where do we start? Look, I brought my conspiracy theory out yesterday, guys. I spoke about my conspiracy theory. I was called a nutter for it. Yeah, I am a complete nutter. I love conspiracy theories. Absolutely love conspiracy theories. Proper love it. You know what I mentioned? I think I mentioned it, didn't I, on the video this afternoon. So this afternoon, I think I dropped it out at about 3:30. I think I was already at work. I obviously put it on a time to come out because working full time, it is quite difficult. But I mentioned one of my favourite podcasts, guys. I've got to say, I absolutely love this podcast here, Conspiracy Theories. I'm a massive conspiracy theorist. I love it to bits. Don't believe them all. It's just a bit of fun. So look, we've got the conspiracy theory about the CEO's appointment date, obviously being the 16th of December, the day after the cup final. Could that be the day that he sacks? His first job is to sack Philippe Clement after Rangers probably get their arses handed to them by Celtic. Hey, I don't know, guys. It's putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. It's the aliens landing at Roswell, or crash landing at Roswell, isn't it? It's the Shag Bay Harbour incident. It's the Rendelsham Forest incident. It's all those things combined, isn't it, into one big, huge conspiracy theory. But it was officially announced this morning. Rangers FC are delighted to announce the appointment of Patrick Stewart as its new chief executive officer. Patrick will join the club on the 16th of December 2024. Look, as I said, we've all made the joke. It's been made till it's blue in the face, about the fact that Patrick Stewart, we all wanted it to be the Star Trek captain. We all wanted it to be Jean-Luc Picard, didn't we? Make it so, number 2. Bring Wesley Crusher with him, and Beverly Crusher, and Mr. Dyer might help. Commander Riker as well, and Worf maybe could do something. Maybe Worf could beat the team up and get them playing a bit better. Who knows? Star Trek references there for all those of you old enough and sad enough to remember Star Trek: The Next Generation. Obviously, you younger fans out there won't have a clue what I'm talking about. John Gilligan, who is the interim chairman, obviously no formal appointment yet of Lord Offord, who is the rumoured next chairman of Rangers. We'll touch on that as well. Gilligan made the announcement this morning and speaking to the Rangers website and Rangers TV, he said, on behalf of the board, what's left of them, that should be in brackets, I am delighted to welcome Patrick to the club as CEO. Patrick comes with an excellent reputation and background, bringing extensive experience of operating at senior levels during his 20 plus years in football. So obviously, he has a vast experience. He's worked at the Court of Arbitration for Support. He's worked at UEFA. He's worked at Manchester United. And I think, a lot of people have kind of drawn a lot of similarities between Rangers and Manchester United, haven't they? A lot of people have kind of said the whole dysfunctional nature of Manchester United to this point and the same dysfunctional nature of Rangers. There is a correlation to massive world clubs. Obviously, look, I know that Manchester United are, by far, financially bigger than Rangers. I get that, but there is a lot of similarities between the two clubs in terms of the fact that that we've both had legendary managers. We've both had managers, they've brought us success in the past, and then they move on, and it kind of falls apart a little bit. Obviously, we had the luck of Sir Walter Wendt and Advocat and Big Eck, and obviously, and then we had the debacle of 2012, and no titles until Gerrard came in. But and Man United have suffered massively since Fergie left. Obviously, Fergie's a Rangers man as well, so there's similarities there, isn't it? I think I heard one person describe Man United as Rangers with money, or someone else as well described Rangers as Man United without money. There's a similarity there, of course there is, but the experience that Patrick Stewart will bring to the job will be greatly beneficial. The work he's done at Manchester United in terms of bringing in revenue streams, in terms of bringing in money, doing business deals, etc., will be very, very useful. Obviously, I don't think he'll find it as easy because obviously the Scottish Premier League doesn't have the same pull as the English Premier League. But you know what? We've got to back him for now. Back him with, look at what he's done. Give him a chance to prove himself at the highest level. John Gilligan also went on to say this. He says the board continues in discussions with several excellent candidates for the role of chairperson and expect to make an announcement of an appointment in the coming weeks. So it sounds like the Lord Offord thing could be a situation where he is perhaps one of the candidates, but not the only candidate from this comment. Look, there's two ways to look at this. One is that they're doing their due diligence. They're looking at a number of candidates. What I hope is that the overreaction of certain fans towards the fact that Lord Offord is a Conservative Party member and a member of the Conservative Party in the House of Lords and served in the last Conservative government. I really hope that hasn't put them off him, that isn't the reason why if he was the main, and this is all a lot of ifs and buts and maybes, that if he was the main candidate, that he isn't been put out of the reckoning just because of that. Because as I said on the podcast on Sunday, it really rankles with me that someone would lose out on a job because of the political party they're a member of, because of the political affiliations they have. Surely it's on how well you do that job that counts, especially when the job that you are going for has nothing to do with politics, is not part of implementing a political philosophy or implementing a political set of political philosophy and policies into your new role. He's not going to come in and privatize this and privatize that and sell off this and sell off that and cut this back and cut that back. That's not what he's going to be brought in for. He's going to be brought in to run a football club at the end of the day. And look, I think your membership of political parties, you have the right in this free country to support who you want as a political person. I'm a member of a political party, a member of a right-wing political party, but that's my choice, isn't it? But I really hope that something is done within the next couple of weeks. It is really urgent that we get this appointment done, dusted, and in place as soon as is possible. Really do hope that that John Gilligan, that Patrick Stewart and the rest of the Rangers board and obviously management committee get into some sort of organisation and finally appoint a new chairman, which is more than needed, definitely more than needed. Okay, so let's talk a little bit of Jack Butland. Now, Jack Butland has, I think on a number of occasions this season, well, two I can think of off the top of my head, kind of in an indirect way criticised the manager and gone against what the manager has been saying. Now, if you listen to Philippe Clement, you would kind of believe that there are no problems at the club to the extent that there are, that that we're unlucky, that we played as well as Celtic in that game when we were outplayed massively, that the performance at Aberdeen where we lost was one of our best performances of the season, that the second half we played so well we should have won 4-5-1 against Dundee and we were just unlucky. I mean, it kind of, Clement rankles with me, he really does. When he opens his mouth, you kind of genuinely wish that he would write down what he's about to say, hand it to somebody like Jack Butland so they can go, no, you can't say that, Philippe. Just don't. Just no, because you're going to make yourself look like a tit. So I think, that is definitely something that is true. It's true. I mean, Clement's comments, Clement's words to me mean nothing anymore. The guy the guy's a liar. I mean, he really genuinely is. He talks a lot of rubbish with what he says. I mean, he talked, like I said, about we'll see a better Rangers in October, November, when arguably we're seeing a worse Rangers than the start of the season, a Rangers that have gone backwards. He said at the start of his reign that he would be ready and willing to give youth a chance. Well, we know that's a load of bollocks. So I think, there's a lot that he said that, really does show that he's talking rubbish. He's talked as well about, start of his reign, he talked about having a flexible formation, players moving around, about, different formations, different shapes. Yet he won't change formation, he won't change shape. And even after Jack Butland, in that interview that he gave after Lyon, called for a different approach, which you could assimilate that as a different formation, a different set of tactics, whatever. When Clement was then questioned about a change of shape or a change of formation, he said it wasn't possible because he couldn't work with it because it would confuse the players. I mean, I find that comment from a manager, pathetic, because I'll be honest with you, if you're a good coach and you are a good quality coach, you can coach your team to do anything. You can coach them to play 3-5-2, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1, 4-4-2, 4-2-4, any sort of formation. Okay, you can do that. A good coach can do that. And you see it. Go to the Premier League. Watch the Premier League. Watch some of the managers in the Premier League. And I'm not talking about the likes of Arne Slot, Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about some of the other teams that do change their formation depending on obviously who they're playing, and if they're playing against the big boys, how they approach the game. You watch some managers, Thomas Frank at Brentford. You watch... I can't remember the guy's name, the 31-year-old who's in charge of Brighton, or you watch Eddie Howe at Newcastle, or you watch the Spanish guy who's in charge of Bournemouth, again his name escapes me now, or Unai Emery at Villa. They can change formation, they can change shape, they can get their team to play in a number of different formations and a number of different shapes. Why? Because their teams are well coached. That's the big difference between Rangers and those teams. Also, the fact that those teams have a substantial amount more money, which does help. But look, I think the biggest comparison is between us and Aberdeen. People talk about Clement needs time. He needs time. He needs time. And I've had an absolute shoe in on TikTok. I mean, there's this dopey, absolute moron on TikTok called Wendy Wu. Don't know if you know her. Who's a massive happy clapper, loves Clement, loves Tav. She, this whole thing about we've got to give the manager time. We're undergoing a rebuild. It's ridiculous to sack Clement when we're doing a rebuild. Well, Jimmy Thielen has come into Aberdeen, spent less money, got rid of a lot of players, lost his best player in Bojan Miovski, yet they play better football than us, and they play with a shape, a formation, a set of tactics, more heart, more desire. Yes, they may not obviously finish as high now, but he's got them playing better football than us. He's got them more organised than we are, and that's in less than a year. So I do think that comment is an absolute. Anyone who's saying that he needs more time to get his philosophy across and to get players in is just talking absolute bollocks and is showing their real illiteracy when it comes to football. But Jack Butland, I think, speaks a lot of sense when he was interviewed. And as I said on the podcast the other day, he gave a real captain's interview. It wasn't the shit that Tav comes out with on a daily, on a basis, on a weekly basis after a defeat. You listen to Tav and it's the same shit. You could just play the same interview after every defeat if it's him. We're really disappointed. We'll learn for this because we're really disappointed with the result. We'll get better. We'll learn, we'll develop. It's the same bollocks. You can literally have a Tav bingo card and play it after every time that idiot speaks. You really, really genuinely could. And I know some people say to me, I don't like you running the players down. I'm sorry, but I hate James Tavernier. The guy is an absolute loser. He really genuinely is. He's not a true leader. He's not Jack Butland is a real leader. You want a real leader, look at Jack Butland. Look at how he speaks. Look at Leon Balogun. Look at how he speaks. Look at how they both play. Then look at James Tavernier. Look at him and just think, what a fucking joke you are, James Tavernier. But Jack Butland, these were the quotes that really stood out for me. It can't take until the second half to get going. We've got to be better. We're giving away too many easy goals against teams that are just looking to sit in and hold on to something. I mean, absolutely spot on. It's what we've all been saying all along. So yeah, we've not won. We should never be drawing that game. It feels like a loss. These games have got to be wins. I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can there's nothing that anybody with half a brain can disagree with in that sentence, those sentences. Yeah. I mean, it does feel like a loss. It genuinely does feel like we lost that game on Saturday. It was that bad. It was appalling. And he's right. We can't wait. We cannot continue to wait to the second half to get going. And people talk about, oh, it was a much better performance second half, wasn't it? Yes, that's because Dundee showed zero ambition and let us have the ball. You know, like I said on the videos, on the TikTok videos and on videos the other day on this channel, we were playing Dundee United, for goodness sake, not Celtic, not any of the EPL clubs, not Borussia Dortmund or Bayern Munich or, you know, Sporting Lisbon or any decent team. We were playing Dundee United. And he's right, we should never be drawing that sort of game. It's just ridiculous that Rangers are, you know, coming out of a game and giving the hard luck story after drawing with Dundee United. It's not that we didn't take control, we didn't do enough to take the game to them. Correct, we didn't. They're coming here to try and get a result and be awkward, which is what teams are going to bring here. It needs more from us. Then these goals don't happen because we're in the ascendancy. We didn't do that in the first half, and we've not done it enough in first halves this season. We've made our own lives difficult. Spot on. Everything he says is accurate. And, you know, if the manager came out and said this, I think people would actually have a lot more respect for him rather than the absolute pish that he talks after every single game. I mean, I know English is his second language, but it's almost like it's a foreign science to him that he doesn't actually know what he's talking about. You know, Butland's right. We didn't take control at any point. We never have done. We never do against these teams that come in and make things awkward for us and sit in. We need to be better. He's right. And he's right. If we are dominating the game, if we are scoring goals, creating chances, then those stupid goals don't happen. 100% correct from Jack Butland. It's just got to be done. It's the standard. I hate having these conversations. It's not what the fans deserve. It's not what the ground staff deserve who got the game on. It's not what the paying fans deserve from the game today. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that. How refreshing to actually hear a Rangers player come out and acknowledge the fact that the fans matter, that the fans don't deserve what they're seeing week in, week out. Absolutely spot on from the boy. And I'll be clear with you, absolutely clear with you, at this moment in time, this team stinks. This manager stinks. There's no heart, there's no fight, there's no guts, there's no bottle. I'll be perfectly honest with you, with the exception of a few. I am going to give a few people pass, you know, not pass marks, but a few people are kind of, I don't know, a bit of a pass on this next comment. Jack Butland, Leon Balogun, Connor Barron, Václav Černý. That's it, really. I mean, they care. They have heart. They have guts. They have fights. And for them, it's not just about the pay packet. I don't think. I don't genuinely think. I mean, I don't think anyone can accuse Big Leon of just caring about the pay packet. Listen to the guy talk. Same for Barron. I don't think anyone can accuse him of just caring about the pay packet. But that's all they care about. That's all the likes of James Tavernier, Cyril Dessers, that lot, you know, Kieran Dowell, you know, Robin Proper, that lot. That's all they care about. It's the pay packet. As long as they get their pay at the end of the week, at the end of the month, they couldn't give a shit about the team. They couldn't give a shit about the fans. They couldn't give a shit about anything. As long as their big fat bank balance is sitting nice and big and fat at the end of every month, they could not give a flying fuck about any of us. Genuinely just couldn't care less. Whether they win, whether they lose, whether they draw, they're still going to get their massive salaries. Whether they play shit and they play rubbish and they go backwards and they look dreadful, like to have 30 grand a week, like Dessers, 27 grand a week, like Dow, 21 grand a week. They couldn't give a shit. Matondo, 24 grand a week. They couldn't give them monkeys because they're still going to get that money. About how bad they play, and that makes you sick. You know, fans, and look, there are so many fans at this moment in time who are struggling, who are genuinely struggling, you know, with the situation. And like, I don't particularly want to turn this into a party political broadcast, but, you know, in this country at the moment, people are struggling financially because bills are going up, because taxes are going up, because heating bills are going through the roof, because the prices in the supermarkets are getting higher and higher. And, you know, people are struggling, genuinely struggling, yet fans are still paying money to go and watch this team. They're still paying for merchandise. They are still spending their money on the club, you know, and they're suffering. They don't. The footballers couldn't care less. They could not give two shits about you struggling to pay your heating bill, struggling to pay your food bill, struggling to pay your car insurance or your car tax, or struggling to pay for petrol. You know, struggling to pay for clothes for yourself. You know, having to make decisions on, you know, on what you buy, what you don't buy, etc., etc. They couldn't give a flying what's it about you, and their performances show that they don't care. They don't care. And it needs to change. And that's why I've been a massive advocate of bringing these young lads in, because they'd give more of a shit than a lot of these experienced pros. They'd give more of a shit than the likes of Dowell and Tav and Dessers and Proper and so on and so forth. They genuinely would. But like I said, I think one of the things we need to look at, you know, Jack Butland, yes, hasn't been great at times this year, but he's still, you know, the best keeper at the club, and he's still the best keeper in Scotland by a long, long way. And I think, you know, he makes that comment about needing a different approach post Leon. He makes these comments that go against the manager. You know, without actually saying it, without actually coming out and making the comment that it's Clement he's talking about, I think he is indirectly trying to get at Clement, trying to say, you need to sort this out, because what you're saying ain't good enough. What you're coaching us isn't good enough. The way you're planning on us playing isn't good enough. And what you're doing with this club isn't good enough. And I think he speaks for the vast majority of actual real Rangers fans that actually care about this club, that want Clement gone, that want him out. The vast majority of sensible-minded, actual true Rangers fans want this man gone, and gone as soon as possible. It's a fact. It's a genuine fact. Right, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Big week, huge week for Rangers. Obviously, Thursday night we go against Nice, live here on the channel. We'll bring you a stream of that, and obviously as well St Johnstone on Sunday. We'll hopefully bring you a stream of that as well. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Please obviously smash the like, smash the sub, comment, share, do all that great stuff. And as always, please remember, we are the people.